1 John chapter 3 and verse 1 reads, "See how great a love the Father has given to us, that we should be called children of God. For this cause, the world doesn't know us, because it didn't know him, that is God." And perhaps this is the reason the martyrs were killed. They were murdered, they were killed, because those who killed them didn't know who God was. They didn't understand what they were believing. We are grateful. And there is a reason as to why I started with that scripture. I welcome you to Transformed Lives program, only on Church of Uganda Family TV. Adrian Austin Mukalas is my name. And today we are in Namugongo. That is why I talk about the martyrs, because we know 3rd June is the Uganda Martyrs Day. And we shall be here in Namugongo. And we are blessed this evening to host the principal of Uganda Martyrs Seminary, Namugongo, Reverend Bossa Esau Chimanje, and he's right here with us. Reverend, we are delighted to have hosted you this evening on Transformed Lives program. Kindly greet our viewers, and then we dig in deep into your transformational story.
Thank you, my brother. Dear viewers, I'm very delighted also to be on this program, and we want to thank God. Amen. Because He's all in all. Amen.
So, Reverend, we want to get back to the Bossa Esau. Where does he grow from? When was he born? And all that early childhood life.
Bossa Esau Chimanje was born in a small village in Bibo. I'm very proud of that village. Bibo, it is along Bombo Road. You branch off from Kakerenge, 16 kilometers, Omigadde, 16 kilometers, then you go inside like 2 kilometers. Okay. That is where I come from. The parents were very strong Christians, and I usually tell people that my dad, he lived for a small time. I saw him for a small time, but he was the head of laity of that our church, and our mom, and our mom was the assistant head of laity. Okay, the husband head of laity, mom assistant head of laity.
Were they appointed because they were husband and wife, or it was just coincidence?
Because they were the ones who had qualifications, and they were few in that church. Then mom, assistant, then mothers union. Then when we started to grow up, we also started taking on leadership.
How many were you at home?
We are 12, and right now we are 11 because one passed on, our firstborn, but it was all interesting.
So which number are you in all these 12?
I'm number 7, yes.
Okay. So as you are growing up, the parents have introduced you to the Christian values. You see them, they're serving in church. How then do you go to school? Which schools do you go to?
I started going to school. The school is called Buwambo, Church of Uganda Primary School.
Were you in boarding or day school?
No, not. I was a day scholar, and we used it to foot.
From Bibo to Buwambo?
Buwambo, it is around 3 kilometers, Bibo to Buwambo. So, but we were footing, young as we were, because our parents loved educating us. And we used it to start schooling when we were very young. And our mom was very strict lady at educating children, because she taught us from home, and by the time we could go to school, even me, there are some classes which I skipped.
Like which classes?
When I started, I skipped. By then, we had a nursery school, but we used it to call them P1A, P1 P1 would be like that. So those classes, I didn't study them. So they promoted me. When I started, I was far beyond the children whom of my age, but because I was taught at home, so I came when I was well equipped. So I skipped 2 classes.
So if you were in this generation, they would have called you the Bwat.
Yes. So like skipping a baby class, middle class, then you go to top. Yes.
So do you complete your P7 from that very school?
Yeah, I completed my study, P7 from still Buambo Primary School. But along the way, I was affected because I fell sick. I was removed from Buambo to Vibo because in our village we also have. So I studied there for 1 year. But because of the performance, our mom never wanted us to go to that school, much as it was very, very near. So they took me back to Buambo.
Had you been healed by that time, or you were still sick, but there was no?
I was still sick but strong, so I could foot. Yeah, I suffered from this leg. Even right now, I usually tell people that I'm a miracle man. Okay, because I have 1 leg, I have 1 eye. If you are not told so the leg, it was operated and they fixed the metal. Yeah.
Surprisingly, when you said you have 1 leg and 1 eye, I was critically looking at you because I cannot believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
So after P7, what next with your studies?
After P7,
Before you complete P7, was the operation during that time when you're still in?
no, it was not on. In fact, I was operated when I was old. I was undertaking my course. That is when it became too severe. So I was taken and operated.
So we get back to your secondary. Now, after primary, you're excited. Which schools did you want to go to?
I was dreaming of going to Ndeje. Ndeje, yes, because it was very powerful. But because we never had money, so I ended up going to Bombo SS. That is where I studied senior 1 up to senior 3. But still, because of money, I could not proceed. They stopped me. In fact, our dad died when we were young. So even reaching P7, I was the one paying for myself. So I paid for myself. Our mom was there, but she was a typical housewife. The one who could go to grow food only like that. She could not pay for us. So we started life. But she was inspiring us, she was praying for us. We could go and dig in people's gardens, fetch water, fetch firewood, we sell and to get money. And after selling, we could take it to mom. Our mom was our bank. And when she realizes some reasonable money, she could take it to school to pay for us. Yeah, and she was good at even disciplining us. Yes, remained alone, but very iron-ready. Yes.
Perhaps that is the reason you are the person you are now.
Yeah. We attribute all of that to her.
Is she still alive?
She's there.
Oh, Mom, we thank you so much for grooming our Reverend. He is because you are.
Yeah.
So, did you end at senior 3 when there was no more money?
Senior 3. After dropping out, I went to dig. But my brother, one of the elder brothers, had completed his studies and was teaching. So he invited me to a school where I was teaching. So I went there. The school is called Namaliga, St. Mary's Namaliga in Bombo. So it was the beginning. I went there, but it was also not for free, much as my brother could say something. So I went there, but I still paying for myself because my brother had just started working there.
He was a fresh graduate.
Yeah, he could not manage to pay for us, but because he was a friend to the leadership, so sometimes they could bear with us. And good enough, when we are there, we also proved to be hardworking with my follower. We proved to be hardworking. Then the leadership, the head teacher, started giving us some jobs to do at school. And out of those jobs, we could raise money to pay for ourselves. Yes.
Wow, you were so determined,
Yeah.
and you had this strong zeal for education. So you complete your senior 4.
I completed my senior 4 from there, and we are the pioneers in that school. So it never had a center. We sat from St. John's in Nandere. Nandere, it is in Ndeje. You go past Ndeje, deep there. That is where we did our senior 4 exams. Yes. So then after completing, I performed very well, but I had no money to proceed. So I tried the senior 5 at Bombay SS. One term I dropped off.
So this time you go back to Bombay SS.
Then because it was the only school which I could do, which I thought I could manage. But I went there for one, I paid one term, then the following term I could not manage. So I went back home for digging. I tried another time, still things could not work. And I was doing sciences, biology, chemistry, physics, which needed a lot of concentration.
Did you want to be a medic?
Yes, it was my dream. So then I decided to leave studies for 4 years. 4 years.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I was at home. I'd done my senior 4 very early because, as I told you, that I skipped some classes. So I did my senior 4 in 1995, before you were born. Okay. So now I joined the senior 5 now fully in 1999. Those are 4 years home. And my senior 6 I did.
So was it because you had gathered some money on you, you had worked and then saved this money that would push you for the 2 years?
As I told you, I'm full of testimonies. So there is a gentleman who gave me a bursary at Makerere High School. And that is how I left the village to come to Kampala.
Makerere High School?
Makerere High School. It was a very sounding school. Now it is called Migadde. Migadde College. But it was at Makerere. It had senior 5 and senior 6 only. So then after, I think the place became small, they acquired a very big chunk of land in Migadde, and it was transferred there. So I think here at Makerere they were renting, where now St. Peter's Church Wandegeya is.
Yes.
That is where the school was, and it taught many people, because many people, yeah. So
you go back still offering sciences?
Yes. Yeah,
you determined to be a medic?
I did biology, chemistry, physics, and sub-math. So when I came to Makerere High School after getting that bursary, I found there children whom I can refer to as children of the people, who came from the schools where people take their children. Okay? But remember, for me, I was coming from Namaliga. Now, it came for us to introduce ourselves and our schools. Now, the fellow students started introducing themselves. I'm coming from, my name is, I'm coming from this school. Or let me say King's College, Gayaza High, St. Watt, those schools. Then it came to my turn. I stood up and gathered myself. Then I introduced myself. I'm Bosa Esau Chimanji, coming from St. Mary's. Now those other guys who were coming from St. Mary's of the people started looking at me and wondering. Then I
How
said,
comes we don't know him?
Yes, I told him, I'm coming from St. Mary's, na, ma, li, ga. Then,
I just imagine what must have happened.
then a nickname came in. So they started calling me Namaliga. Namaliga, so I was too belittled, but I decided to concentrate on my books. I revised very well.
For how long was this nickname? Was it for the 2 years?
A term, only one term. I wanted to prove myself that I'm not Indiga, because Namaliga means like you are a sheep. So now I wanted to prove myself that much as I am coming from Namaliga, but I am better than you. So I concentrated on my books. I read my books. That first term, I was the best. And I remember our head teacher was called Anjagala, is now late. They read us on the assembly, the giants. So I was the giant of science class. And now he said, now this man, for him he was not aware that students were calling me Namaliga. So he said, now this man is Dr. Bosa. So from then they started calling me Dr. Bosa. So the other one vanished.
So from Namaliga to Dr. Bosa now.
Bosa, yes. So we continued, life continued very well, and the students started even befriending me, coming around me because I was very good. Chemistry, biology, physics, I got many friends. Yeah, whom I could help. Yeah, I did senior 5. But after senior 5, a challenge came in, because when I came from village, I started living with a certain Reverend who was our guardian. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Was called the Reverend Gizamba. So I was living with him, and he was treating me very well. But life changed when he was transferred. I was left homeless. But he worked very, very hard, and he took me to another friend of his. I lived there. Their life was not
As soft as it was.
It was not, and it made me my performance was deteriorated a little bit. Yeah, but because of what I was going through. Yeah. Because like I could go to school without any meal. You stay to school the whole day, you have not eaten. Remember, we were with the other children who have more than enough. So sometimes I could pretend I know with these guys, you don't want to open up that I'm too what, but you could be there, no food from morning to evening. Then you go home, you take one meal, like at 8. Then that one meal takes you for the next day. So life was not easy. And remember, I had mom was not working. You could not go back to get something. Yeah, and I was given a bursary, but no any other support. So now I could go back during the holidays, like for 1 week. You look for what to do for pocket money, to buy books and other things. Yeah, so, and that is how even I lost the body up to now. I was fat. What younger man. So I lost the body and
Because of the first fasting.
yes, up to now, I got used.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, so how did you perform at Senior 6 eventually? Following all that you went through.
Senior 6, I didn't get the points to take me for medicine as I was dreaming. But I got points which took me for teaching.
Yes. So, at that very point, Reverend, we are going for a commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to continue with Reverend Esau Bossa Chimanje's story. Don't miss. Thank you so much, you who is following Transformed Lives program. This program is only on Church of Uganda Family TV, and today we are delighted to host the principal of Uganda Matters Seminary, Namugongo, who is taking us through his story. This is none other than Reverend Esau Bossa Chimanje. And before the commercial break, Reverend, you had told us that after failing to get the points to your dream profession, you now get points that take you to teaching. How do you go to teaching? Because you also you need money to go to the university in order to qualify to be one.
Good enough, I was given on a government. Yes, I was given on a government, and it helped me. So I studied.
So there the government gives you accommodation, feeding, and upkeep.
Yes. So that is how I managed government. Yeah.
So at that level, when then do you think about, because I now see you wanted to be a doctor, you failed to be a doctor, you're now a teacher. How then do you join church ministry? Because earlier you told us in the early childhood story that the parents had introduced you to ministry and you were in church. But then how do you now pick up the interest in ministry as you grow up?
So my dream originally was to be two in one. That is a doctor and a reverend. Because I used it to admire Professor Ruboga. Yeah, I saw him. He was a professor in medicine, but at the same time, a reverend. So I wanted to be like him. So and the ministry has not started now a few years, but we started it from childhood, because at home we used it to preach in our home church. And one time when I was in senior 3, our lady reader went for leave and left me in charge of the church. Okay, by then maybe I was his assistant. So I took the church for a month when he was away. So
you're the preacher, you lead the service.
The leader of the what? The service. But then it was grown in senior 6. Senior 6, as I told you, senior 5 I was living with the reverend, and I had liberty. Preaching in a church, I could go to preach what. But then, when I changed from him to the other person, because we were used, one time he was not around, it was Lent period. So I came from school, and reaching a church, there was nobody to lead the service, and the people had come. So I decided to step in, thinking that I was doing something good. So I stepped in, I led the service, I preached, people were very happy. But when the other friend, let me call him a friend, when he came back, it turned into, we went home, he punished me. Who told you to lead the service? He said, inside me, it pained me, and I said, I will be a reverend. If I've been, and moreover, a church leader. giving punishment to somebody who has stepped in because he has not what?
Yes.
So
This person
now,
has stood in the gap.
yes, he punished me, and I said, I will be also like him. Because maybe he thought I could not. So I said I will be like what? Him. So after studying, in fact I joined training as a leader in my vacation senior 6. As I was waiting for exams, for results, I joined the training. And it was surprising also, because when you were joining, you were supposed to go through the parish priest, the archdeacon. For me, I just took myself to the class. So I went in the class.
So you didn't do any interview? There was no vetting?
So because I wanted it, and I felt the conviction that God was calling me for, and I never wanted to go through anybody. So I went. I found myself in a class. And moreover, I was staying very far in Nabukalu. Nabukalu is past late, the president was, I'm forgetting the place, very far, around 20 kilometers from Namirembe. I used to foot from there, that village it is called Nabukalu, because in my vacation, I had a friend who took me there to help him. He had a school, so I was teaching there. But I was also determined to train as a leader. So I used to walk from there to Namirembe to train, because we are studying one day. So
1 day in a week?
In a week. So as I told you, I found myself in a class. The leadership tried to reject me. I insisted that God had called me, and finally they accepted me.
So what about the formalities of the forms?
Those things I didn't do them. Yeah. And at the end, they wanted to push me away. But I was telling them, God, they were asking me, who sent you? I told them, God sent me. Okay? Finally, they accepted me. I was commissioned as a leader. We were around 106 around there, leaders. I was the youngest in that group. And it is surprisingly, we are 2 Levirans who continued. So me and then there is a lady who is called Levirand. She's a Levirand. Levirand Juliet Sekamate at Wampeo. We are in the same class of leaders. So we are only 2 out of the 100 plus who graduated into Levirans. Yeah. So after, as I told you, I was commissioned.
Yes.
But I was commissioned when I was still taking on my course for teaching. So I completed the course. Then after completing the course, I said, I'm a church leader. I'm not going to teach. So, yes, I went to my archdeacon the first time to ask him to post me in a church. He rejected.
Had you reported to him after qualifying as a leader?
No, I didn't. I didn't go there. I didn't go there because I was at school. So, but after completing the school, I went to him, asking him to give me a church. He rejected me. Okay? Rejected me.
Which reason did he give?
He never knew me. Okay? Yes, and it was the reality. He never knew me. He didn't send me. God sent me. I can't say that I sent myself. God sent me to study. So then after that, I went home thinking, what can I do to convince this man that I'm ready for the ministry? I went home. This time I took an application later. He decided to apply, like applying for a job. Okay. I wrote my application with my CV, everything. And good enough when I was...
Reverend,
yes.
what did you include in your CV?
Yeah, good enough when I was at university. I used it to help in the chaplaincy like that, and I had some certificates. So I included those certificates. And when I went the second time with the CV, with all my documents, this time it was opposite. Hey, you are the man whom I have been waiting for. I have a church we having it. By then, the leaders were not educated as I was. So I have a church where you can go. I have educated people. You will be the one to manage them. So
this time round, he knows you.
He knows me. Now he sent me to that church.
Which church was
St.
that?
Stephen Kasangati, Church of Uganda. So that is where he sent me. Yeah. And when I went there, I worked well. And that is when I started thinking of going back to study for ordination. Because I was a leader. So it came to me, but even before, immediately after completing, I had that conviction. So I tried to apply, but they told me that I was too young. So
How old were you?
I was by then 23.
What was the minimum qualification?
Maybe it was my body, because it is 21 years, but I was by then 23. Okay, but by my body and my appearance, they thought that maybe I was too young. So, but then I got that church. I started also applying. I applied for the first time. They told me, you are not married. Okay. Then I got married. I applied for the second time. They told me, you are not, you've just gotten married, so you cannot go. Oh, so it was like that. Then one time, I decided to go to the bishop, because I failed all the possible ways. I never did any interview, but they were telling me you are young, you are not married, you are what? So I went to the bishop in the bishop's office, by then Bishop Sekade. He gave me interview there and then. When I told him, he looked at me and he thought that I could not even speak. He told me, can you preach to me? Prepare a sermon and preach. I stood up. I started preaching. I don't know what I preached. It seems I failed the interview from there. So I went home.
So you failed to convince the bishop in preaching?
He didn't give me any feedback.
After preaching, someone who has come to a church service, after the service, they just go.
He just told me, okay, go. He didn't give me the feedback. But you know, God's timing is always the best.
Sure.
So now, I went back for a full year, 2 years, no feedback. Now this time it happened because I was in Masoli Parish, the church in Kasangati, it was under Masoli. So now he planned to come for confirmation in Masoli Parish, and our priest decided to host him in Kasangati. Okay, Kasangati. So he had his culture. When he was coming for confirmation, he could come like 3 days before for pastoralia. He came 3 days for pastoralia, and when he came, You know, God God's way of functioning is different.
Sure.
When a bishop is around, a lay leader is not supposed to talk. Okay? So, but that time, God held the archdeacon's mouth. He held the priest's what? Mouth. Because when he came, now the priest said, you know, my archdeacon, I'm new in this place. Yet the man had taken 2 years. I am new in this place, so these people, I don't know them. Then the archdeacon also said, hey, I am also a visitor. So these people, I don't know them. Now let the lay leader take us through. Okay? So now I started speaking, whenever home I could go, I could introduce, talk. But as I was talking, I saw the bishop noting whatever I was talking. Then after his pastoral year, he asked me, Mubulizi, do you have senior 4? I've liked you. Do you have senior 4? If you don't have senior 4, please go back and get the letter for senior 4. I told him, Bishop, I teach senior 6, don't I have somebody like Mubulizi like you. Yeah. You are the kind of person I need. So he kept quiet. Then on the day of confirmation, when he came, people started, I don't know, they started talking good things about me during lunch. Everybody who talked was praising me. And then the bishop, on that day, he told them, now let this man come in my office. I've seen him, I've liked him. We can't miss him out of the church. Let him come. I'm sending him to train.
So this means that this bishop was not even remembering the time he told you to preach to him in the office?
Yeah, he never remembered, and it seemed that he had not seen me anyway. So it was surprising. When I went there, I found when I went there, I reached at the reception. Now they called him, and this response was, I am not seeing that man. He was somehow depressed, disappointed. But then, after saying like that, he switched off the phone. Then he called, and the receptionist called me and told me, the bishop is saying, your letter has already been written. You are going at UCU for ordination. So that date was also a hassle, because I arrived there by 7, but the letter was given to me at around 5 in the evening. So I spent the whole day there, but praying for the bishop not to change his mind. So I finally received the letter sending me, and I was the happiest, because my dream had come to pass.
So after being ordained as a reverend, how then do you come to Uganda Matters Namugongo?
Now, immediately after ordination, I was at Mengo as an ordinand. But then when I was ordained, I was posted here as assistant vicar. But when I arrived here, I also started teaching in the seminary. So the principal, by then, we worked together, and it was my vicar, worked together. I'm very hard working, as you have heard from. So I think I impressed him. He loved me, but also I loved him, because he was a very good man. Then when he was going away, then God appointed, or I received the call that you are now the next. I was appointed as acting principal. But then afterwards, I received the confirmation that you are the principal. Yeah.
So, Reverend, I know time is not on our side, but we cannot leave you without you telling us about the Uganda Matters, because these are the face of our faith. These are the faith, the base of religion, the Anglican denomination. So we cannot leave you before you talk about them, now that we are almost in the empire.
Yes. As there is that man, Tertullian. Sometimes I don't know how to pronounce it well, but he wrote and said that the seed of the martyrs, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of Christianity. So now where we are, it is where the seed of Christianity in Uganda was planted. So we are lucky that the seed was planted here. 25 martyrs were killed from here up there. We are in this same structure up there, and the remains were buried in this church we are seeing. But as men of God, their death, it was not a loss. We count it as a blessing to the church, to the growth of Christianity. I think Christianity in Uganda is because of the martyrs. We usually get many people coming here, as we are also preparing for third. Tens of thousands come here to see what happened. And also whatever is here, it is because of the martyrs. That college, the seminary is here because of the martyrs. Yeah.
And probably this museum. So,
yes.
We want to thank you so much, Reverend. Thank you for sparing this precious time with us, sharing with us your story, and probably that important message about the matters. We are indeed blessed, and we shall keep updating you on Church of Uganda Family TV, giving you all updates as per 3rd June, that is the Uganda Matters Day. We shall give you whatever happens here, because we know we are supposed to be here. And we are delighted that this time it is Ankole Diocese organizing. So we shall be updating you. Just keep your eyes on Church of Uganda Family TV. And I want to thank you so much for watching this program. We are glad, we are delighted, and at this very point, allow me sign out, but I've worked with Jonah Jal, my producer, and in transmission there is Patrick. God bless you until we meet again.